Luck doesn't live on this side of the border.
Hello and welcome to Mojo at the Movies. I'm Manny, joined always by our resident movie critic, Mr. Eric Cohen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Manny?
I'm doing great. I want to know, you reached out to me on Wednesday, told me that you had advance passes to the screening of Sicario 2. I passed. Did I make the right decision on passing on this movie?
The question being, did they need to do another Sicario movie?
Did we need a sequel to Sicario?
Well, it's not really a sequel. It's more of a standalone. It's like a, you know, it's its own movie. Some of the characters are back. Not all of them. Emily Blunt is not back. The director, Denis Villeneuve, is not back either.
Two reasons why I didn't jump into this movie. I love Brolin. Clearly, we're experiencing...
It's the year of the Brolin.
The year of the Brolin.
Yeah, rolling with Brolin.
So I saw Emily Blunt's out and, you know, no Villeneuve. And I was like, I don't know, dude. I think I'm going to have to pass.
Not only that, but the marketing has been really weird. I mean, okay, I should say that I loved the first movie. I thought the movie, the first Sicario was like, it was a perfect, it was a perfect movie unto itself. It didn't need a sequel. I certainly didn't feel, it was self-contained. I didn't feel that the ending required, you know, any more to the story. Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors, and he really knows how to turn the screws, and you know, everything was perfect about that movie. So when I started to see, when I heard that there was a second film coming out and that Villeneuve wasn't attached, I was already a little bit skeptical.
And he was out like literally from the beginning.
Yeah,
he didn't even want to develop the movie. I don't think even as a like throwaway producer credit, like they do sometimes. They take the first director from the first movie and slap him on. And they're like, but he's an executive producer.
Right. No, he
to
had
get people in the seats. He was like straight up. I told my story. I'm out.
Not only that, but the director of this, Stefano Sollima, mentioned that Villeneuve had nothing to do with the movie. He didn't, it's not like Sollima went to Villeneuve for guidance, and Villeneuve made that specific decision because when he took over Blade Runner, he specifically put it in his contract that he didn't want to have to confer with Ridley Scott.
Really?
Even though Ridley Scott eventually ended up being a part of Blade Runner
too, yeah.
But you know, he wanted to give this movie up. And I have to say, Sollima did a really good job. I was so worried, especially, you know, getting back to the marketing. So the marketing made it seem like it was going to be a big action franchise now. Like, you know, in the trailer you have that shot of...
the trailer is like as if they're promoting an action movie.
Yeah, and you have Benicio del Toro, and he's like shooting the gun like that.
And the poster is like straight up like, I think like it's a skull poster?
The poster...
With like the flags draped over it.
Yeah, I have to give credit to one of our colleagues, Josh, who made the comparison. He said, it looks like an Ed Hardy shirt. Like, and that's
super hilarious.
And I didn't realize
Ed Hardy
it at
shirts
first.
are terrible, by the way.
Exactly. No offense to people who wear Ed Hardy shirts, but
offense to all people wearing Ed Hardy shirts.
This is not one, by the way.
Blast me in the comments.
I got the sense from all the marketing that it was going to be just a piece of crap, that they were going to take all the magic out of it. Because the first one was slow-moving and built the tension.
It sets me up for my second question. Does this suffer from the classic sequelitis? Is this something that we saw it in the first movie and they are repeating it? Or do they try to expand on these characters and create, let's say, are they doing like a Jack Ryan type of thing? This is a character that exists in a universe and he goes on different adventures and he has different things. So there's all these movies set up.
You would think that it would be a prequel or a sequel, but it's neither of those things. It is those characters in a different scenario, and what I think is interesting is that whereas the first one was more about drug smuggling, I mean, both of the films involve the U.S.-Mexico border. The first one was more about drug smuggling. This one is more about human trafficking and migrants. And they could not have known when they wrote this movie that the backdrop of what's going on in the world when they release it would be what's happening at the border right now. So it's, I mean, the timing it's serendipitous that they were able to seize on that. And it's not necessarily a comment on what's happening now, but certainly on America's role in in how people are treated with regards to the border, and how, American foreign policy, and it's, Josh Brolin's character, it really demonstrates, I think, what a lot of people suspect about how America deals with.
Basically chilling in the gray zone. where we're doing these things. They're not necessarily good things.
Well, I think they even say in the marketing, there's no rules. This time, you know, last time around there were rules of engagement. This time there are no rules. And what I have to say is that they got it right. So I sat there at the end of the movie and I went, holy shit. Like it felt the same way that the first movie did. And, you know, kudos to the director for picking up where Villeneuve left off.
And that's a tough thing to do because Villeneuve, I find, is one of the most like new kind of like legit storytellers.
Yes.
I find that's something that's a bit lost. He's a great director of actors. He knows how to direct action set pieces. I mean, in the first one, the border scene, still to this day is like one of the better, most tense-filled shootouts in that type of film, meaning that it's like, it's a drama that has a lot of action in it.
You feel the dread the whole time.
You feel the dread, you feel the unease of Emily Blunt's character, the angles, the shots. It's very, very well directed. So you find the director takes the tone that was set up in the first movie, kind of tweaks it enough that it's his own, but keeps the tone of the Sicario universe, let's say.
Exactly, and the idea of a Sicario universe is kind of gross because why do we, you know, like, it shouldn't be turned into a blockbuster or a franchise, but that tone is there, and those, you know, you're talking about Emily Blunt's, you know, from her perspective and those shots in the car, and there was a similar type of situation in this movie. I also have to say that the last half hour is the most edge of your seat, like,
it's just intense,
and it just keeps on turning those screws, and you know, the first time around, the music also was Johan Johansson, who tragically died this past year, and it had those kind of beating drums, that tribal feeling that just built and built, and this time around, that feeling was again achieved. I want to make sure I have the right name because it was one of Johan Johansson's collaborators, Hildur Guðnadóttir, another Icelandic
100% butchered that.
No, I don't think so. It's actually not bad, eh?
That's complicated. I'm not trying it. But props to him.
But the first one won Oscars for, or nominated, or won, I think, you know, for Roger Deakins for cinematography, for Johan Johansson for the music. Both of those, and Villeneuve, I think, was nominated. None of them are back, but the spirit of what they brought to the first one is there for the second one. I was pleasantly surprised. I felt that dread. The acting was, once again, stellar. And you just get this sense that, like, all is not well, and it just, it gets in your bones.
Is it the type of movie that kind of gives you the relief from like the superhero blockbuster bonanza that's going on right now? You sit down, you watch this movie. Is it enjoyable enough to where you leave the theater? Do you like basically do you feel like garbage, or is it overall you're like, this is a solid movie and it's refreshing to see a different?
It's neither. It's
neither.
I'm glad I saw it, right?
Okay.
And it stayed with me. But I didn't come out of there feeling, you know, relieved or like I escaped, you know, the superhero fatigue or anything. Like I felt tired because it just plays on your nerves so much. But that's what you want a good movie to do.
It entertains you in a specific way.
Yeah.
You leave like you feel it. It basically you have feeling after. It's not just like, oh, okay, so this guy did these things.
Like the first one, this stayed with me.
I'm a huge fan of this. I'm a huge fan of the first one.
Yeah.
So I clearly made the wrong decision not joining you.
Yes, exactly. You should have come.
I 100% regret it, which is why I kind of wanted us to have this sit down. And I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, go see it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So go see Sicario 2. It's worth.
It's Sicario Day of the Soldado.
Day of the Soldado.
Not Sicario 2.
Yeah. So it's worth the money. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. That is a new thing, but the bell doesn't work all the time properly. It's weird. YouTube's weird. Everything's weird, but thanks.
The bell works. Just ring it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Eric.